Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Heavy Repping. My name is John Tron Davidson, and I'm here once again in our super secret, very, very, very quiet test location in the southwest of England. Tonight what I'm going to do is go through this bowl, and as you can hear, it's full of all sorts of incredible things. It's been a little while since I've taken the time to do an ASMR episode of Heavy Repping, but with recent developments in my personal life, I thought it only wise to take an opportunity to do this and to make sure that I share with you my love of picks and my love of the people who make them, because that's very important and it's the crux of everything that we do here at Heavy Repping. So tonight what I'm going to do is delve in. We'll have a good roam around the bowl and we'll see what we can find in this wonderful, wonderful collection of pieces by the best pick makers in the world. So let's start with this. This is the Howling Monkey Antonius, and I've talked about it before, but I always like to start here because it reminds me what it was like when I first started getting really, really excited about all of the makers in the Plectroverse. And the reason is, this was the first pick that I came across that was really its own unique thing that I hadn't seen anybody else do, that had its own personality, its own character, and this is the very first one I owned. I've played it a great deal. It still retains most of its shape, and you can see right at the very edges there's a little bit of wear from me hammering my acoustic with it. And this is made from Tagua, which is the ivory palm tree nut. I've talked about that a great deal on the channel before, and it even had its own dedicated video which you can go and watch down at the link in the description, assuming you're not listening to me to go to sleep, of course. Brian makes some wonderful things, and his support of gay rights and his support of all people has been a tremendous thing to see in the pick community, because frankly there's no real reason why we can't all find common ground in some respect. And I find that people who don't do that, who have no desire to do that, are missing out. They're missing out on the bigger picture of life and all of the joy that can come with that. So with that being said, let's have another roam around. Why not then? The Zen Koishi. This is a huge plectrum made from Juma, I believe, which is a type of resin acrylic cross, and it's been left sanded rather than polished. Duncan does make some incredible things, and I'm extremely proud to have him in the shop. This is one of his relatively early models and is inlaid with a Japanese coin. giving it a genuinely individual flair. It's also been one of my favourite picks to photograph over the years, and I've had an enormous amount of joy out of playing it. Also, in addition to this, the fact that this is curved in the way it's curved gave me great insight as to how some pick makers choose to do that very hard, flat-sided shaping, but then bring it around with so much contouring at the front. I really do think that is incredibly elegant and really quite wonderful. And it's not uncommon for him to make some very aggressive shapes like the katana and the kris. However, the koishi stands apart from that because of its size and grace. Yes, I'll talk about that in a moment. This is a Raven monocle, and technically this is a pick. It is made from a single piece of acrylic that has been beveled on one side, and this, I believe, is something that Steve sent to me partly out of a sense of curiosity more than anything else. This is a lovely piece, actually, and has brought an enormous amount of joy to the people that I've showed it to. It is surprisingly easy to use, given its dimensions and thickness. I would say that's probably clocking in at about 5.5 to 6 millimeters. But the acrylic and the fact that it is so large really always makes me smile every time I find it in my collection. And ultimately, with picks, I think that's what they should do. It should be an event. It should be something that makes you look forward to whatever it is you're going to play, and that is not to be discounted by any metric. Now I put this one to the side, and I will talk about this in a moment, but let's have a quick rummage first. Yes, that's very good. Alright. We've got 3 pieces here that couldn't be more different, but I did want to talk about each one of them in turn, because I believe they all offer something genuinely engaging and interesting. So first things first, this little brown number is made from raffia, which contains a lot of fibrous material, and this was made by a gentleman called Rens Hendrix, who is, as far as I'm aware, no longer on social media. He left some time ago to be a blacksmith, but Rens made some of the most understated, nicest picks I've ever played. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy, and I should reach out to him and say hello, because he was in my shop originally, and when he decided to leave social media and leave the pick world behind, I took his shop down at his request, and I think about him quite often, because we had a lot of very long discussions about pick making, about music, about life in general, and I think, if memory serves me, he was one of the first, if not the first people in the community that I got talking to at great length, and continued to talk to at great length until he left Instagram. I think the last I heard, he was restoring old boats, which is a very noble way to pass your time, and used a lot of his skills. So I have a huge amount of respect for him as a maker and as a person. He carved exquisite symmetry into these, and having made my own picks now, I understand the degree to which he polished them and filed them and sanded them, and left them with their own feel. I always know it's one of his when I feel it, even in amongst all these. They genuinely have their own presence, and it's truly, truly wonderful. However, I also want to talk about this, which is a huge Arcanum chimera. This is one of the first, if not the first, chimeras, and the top half of this is made from resin. The bottom half is made from tagua, and I have a number of these now in a number of different incarnations, like this beautiful half resin, half tagua paladin that I've recorded with. But this one was the catalyst. This was to see if it would work, and this is a 9mm deep version of the Arcanum Cleric. Nad spent a long time polishing this, and tagua buffs up so beautifully. But one of the things that I find so remarkable about it is that despite the pronounced ridge that you can see all the way around, this still manages to feel very soft, very gently curved at the apex of all of the sharp edges, or what would be sharp edges. The resin is also buffed to a mirror finish, which I think is something very beautiful, and it's something I'm currently trying to figure out how to do myself, using wet sand rather than a buffing machine. Now, I have no problem using buffing machines, and in fact I hope to get my own very soon, because it will save me a great deal of time, and also allow me to achieve a much richer finish on all of my ritualite plectrums. But this stands as a testament to Nad's pursuit of symmetry, his pursuit of the melding of materials, and also that undeniable character that he brings to each one of the picks that he makes. So, a very important piece for me. Now, before I talk about this, I'm going to have a quick move around in here and see what else we can discover. Oh yes, absolutely. Very much so. So, we'll talk about this first. This is a Northern Ghost Vaporwave. It is made from resin, a beautiful neon swirling black infused resin, and I have played this a fair old bit. Now, I have two of these. One is thicker than the other, and it's some of James's finest work from the last year or so. Now, I understand I'll be receiving some picks from him very soon. I'm sending some of my own as trade, and he is very kindly going to send me some of this resin to make my own picks with, which I'm very much looking forward to. I haven't worked with resin a great deal, but I'm looking forward to that new challenge, and also I am looking forward to seeing his new pieces, because he has always cultivated such a unique identity with his shapes, with his approach to polishing, with his usage of materials, and little details like very, very gently curving the crest of these shoulders and retaining that symmetry, that wonderful symmetry the whole way around. I think it is genuinely fantastic. A wonderful maker, wonderful person, and making some truly beautiful things. Let's move on to this. This is a Mako Jumbo, and it is part resin, with a second piece of resin in that big red eye that you can see. Now, I actually requested these. It's not something that I do very often with makers, because really I want to own the things that they wanted to make. But on the occasion where the opportunity is offered to me to get something to build to my specifications, I always like to have something that I always look forward to using. This particular model is about 8mm. I think it's a truly wonderful design, very, very striking, very sort of half brutalist, half modernist in its approach. And I have a black one of these with a yellow eye, which is even larger. The white one I have tried not to play because I don't want to mark it. It is so snowy white and beautiful, and the black one doesn't show the marks as much. But these are made in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I think they are truly superb. It's a very unusual shape. It works very, very well at large sizes because of the surface area and so on, but it is absolutely fabulous. Lots of ways of holding it. My preferred way is upside down. It gives you loads of purchase. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Now, we're running short of time and battery tonight, so I'm going to call time on this episode here, but I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll be back in due course for another episode of Heavy Repping Pick ASMR. Thank you very much for watching.